on my phone. Here we are. Good morning and welcome back to another WCN Live here in the Wilson County News Break Room. My name is Kristen Weaver. I'm Director of Operations, and joining me today,
I'm Brandy Hawkins, Customer Service Representative.
and
I'm Mike Fulmer with Fulmer Realty here in Wilson County, closer over to Lavernia.
very good to have you today. I'm glad to finally meet you because, of course, I've heard of Fulmer Realty for a very long time, and now I know why, because we're going to hear a little bit of his story that we look forward to sharing. Let me first thank our sponsor, the Price Way, which includes the dealerships Price, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Jeep, and Richardson Brothers Chevrolet here in Floresville. They are both located on 181 next to each other, and you can just shop all makes and models. You can shop a huge service department. They can help you there, as well as for careers. So check the Price Way out, and we thank you very much for your sponsorship of all these WCN Lives, but show them some love. They're included in the description of this video, and thank you, Price Way. Next, we are going to draw a winner. So every week when we're on WCN Live, you can post a comment while we're live, and your comment puts your name into our drawing for the next week's video. So today we are going to draw from this little
All right.
bowl for a winner, and these people watched last week.
I think I've got just
All
one.
right. Let's see who our winner is.
That is Michael Anthony. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Brandy will be reaching out to you on Facebook Messenger, and be sure and get your comments in while we're on today, so we'll have a winner next week. Oh, and Michael Anthony, he wins a C Street.
Gift bag.
Right, from C Street, our front office here, where we have nice little retail items, so you can check those out. Okay, so we are here today with Mike Fulmer, and he's with Fulmer Realty. And Mike, tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from.
Well, so I'm a South Texas guy. I was born in San Antonio, and I've really lived here in San Antonio and South Texas all my life. And I got into real estate primarily because my mother had been in real estate. My dad was ill, and she needed to take care of him. And back then, there was no internet, there was no cell phones, and her broker had told her that if she couldn't be there at the office, sitting at a desk every day, that he simply couldn't use her anymore. So she came to me and said, look, there's this course that you can take, and if you successfully pass the course, and then at that time there was a separate test in Texas. This was in the 60s.
Okay.
There was a separate test in Texas where you either took a test to become a real estate agent, or you could take a little more extensive test to become a real estate broker. And so that was what we did. I was in college at the time, and she didn't have the time to go through all of that, and came to me and said, if you can become a real estate broker, I can work under your license out of the home and continue to take care of your dad.
Yeah.
So I was not expecting that was going to be, because I was in college thinking I was going to be into social work, marriage and family counseling, something of that nature, and that's what I was studying for.
Right.
But and I did wind up getting a master's. It was in education with a counseling specialization, so it's come in handy for real estate. You know, real estate can be such a stressful process, and so it's you know, it's good to have good communication skills and try to be able to listen real well, and you know.
Yeah.
So, but that's basically the way I got started, was with her, and then the referrals that she had, and friends and family, and and then started buying for my homes on my own, just to you know, buy them and fix them up. My father had been in construction, and I inherited a lot of tools, and I inherited the you know, the image and the skills to be able to do a lot of things. And so back in the 70s, that's what I did primarily. I had my broker's license, but I would often just buy and sell homes for myself.
Yeah.
So,
That's really serving a need in the community when you're doing things like that. You're really building community. So you did a lot of this around like the San Antonio, South Texas area?
primarily San Antonio, yes.
Primarily, yeah.
Primarily San Antonio.
When did you come to Wilson County?
Well, so I first came to Wilson County with a client of mine from San Antonio who had started building homes in Wilson County and asked me if I would list the homes that he was building. That was 2002.
Okay.
So I've been out here about 22 years, live out here now,
Mm-hmm.
have, a home on some acreage, and so things, kind of evolved from then. It's much different now than it was in the
course.
1960s
Yep.
and the 70s and the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And it's much different now than it was even in the early 2000s.
Exactly. Yeah, it has changed a lot. So when did Fulmer Realty, was that pretty much like from you becoming broker? Or?
So yes, what we called, we just
always
used our
been-
last name
Yeah.
back when we did it, was Fulmer Realty. After I came to Wilson County, and I had a couple of local agents approach me 10, 12, 15 years ago, I can't remember now exactly, but that approached me and said, look, we would really like to have you sponsor us. And I had not been sponsoring agents up until that time.
I see.
But once that I did that, then I did form an LLC, so that it's now, Fulmer Realty LLC,
Okay.
and, have the office off of 775
Right.
south of Livonia.
Okay. It's at Center Point.
At the
right?
center point.
At the center point.
point, next to the Shell station,
Right.
right next to Pop's Ice Cream. Everybody knows
Okay,
Pop's
it's a
Ice
great
Cream.
Spot. Yeah. Yeah, that's a busy location there.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Well, so now you have, how many realtors and agents do you work with now?
So I have 4 agents that work with me
Okay.
now, and some full time, and a couple that are more part time
Yeah.
agents. But then some have been with me for several years,
Yeah.
and we have that relationship.
Do we want to mention who they are?
Well, we can do that.
Yeah.
So Lana Frank is one of the agents
Okay.
that is basically part-time these days,
Yeah.
taking care of her family. But Lana comes from an accounting background and she was with Price, I believe it was Price Waterhouse in New York City of all
Wow.
things. So
Okay.
she was doing quite well in her field, but decided to return home and started a family and so forth. So
Nice.
Lana's one of our better people on computers and with all computers and
So
so
she's a
forth.
great
so
support. Okay.
yeah, so she's a great support. And then Leanne Watson has
Okay.
been with me the longest. Leanne is in as is Lana, based in Livonia, lives in Livonia.
Okay.
And Leanne has been in real estate for quite a number of years now. She was with one of the larger firms,
Yeah.
one of the larger companies before she came over with me. Okay.
Great.
And then I have 2 relatively newer agents, Marge Rush.
Okay.
Marge has not been with me not even a year yet, but Marge is a very local Livonia
Yeah.
family, and she
Nice.
she has a broker's license. She's been in real estate
Long time.
a long time, probably
Okay.
35, 40 years,
Great.
and did commercial real estate in Houston.
Wow.
Sold some fairly large projects in Livonia back in the day, and recently has relocated here from being with a large firm in the Dallas area.
Great.
So Marge lives in her old established family home
Oh,
down
nice.
in Livonia.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then Andrew Torres. Andrew also has been with a couple of other firms prior to coming on with me. He works with a local builder and is, pretty much full time with that builder, but has his referral basis
Yeah.
and all the people that he has been working with.
Right.
And so Andrew also stays active in real estate as well.
Yeah. So they have a real, it just sounds like a very steady base of knowledge that they bring
Yeah.
to your firm. Yeah. And gosh, so Can you pretty much, like with having that steady office there, what are the hours like if someone wanted to stop by?
So, these days we're in and out so much.
Okay.
I work for sure 6 days a week,
Wow.
and I am there most of the time, but I can be out showing
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
So I don't have a full-time person that's
Keep the
there
office
all the
open.
time.
Oh, okay.
So it's a
Yeah.
matter of giving us a phone call or an email ahead of
Right.
time,
Right.
and
Okay. What would you say makes Fulmer Realty unique?
well, I guess I'm going to say experience.
That's,
You know,
I would agree.
I've been a realtor now for well over 50 years,
Yeah.
and I think experience is important
Right.
in navigating through the process. Sometimes real estate goes, a purchase or sale goes very smoothly and things all fall into place. Most times there is a hurdle or a problem or something because there's so many moving parts in terms of the title work and the condition of the home and the inspection and the appraisal and
Right.
there's just in a way helping people either sell or buy real estate is anticipating some of the hurdles that are going to come along. Have your client informed about the fact that here's the big picture and here's how a lot of these pieces work together,
Yeah.
and here's what we can anticipate as possible problems that we need to solve between
Right.
here and closing. And I just feel like the more experience you have and the more you've hit some of those bumps in the road, the more prepared you are for what may come up, and
Right.
the more successful you can be at kind of steering through what becomes a difficult situation at times.
Right, and the relationships you build along the way.
That's-
Right.
That experience.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I would say that's probably, I guess another thing I would say, and this is true of a lot of local real estate companies, is really, in my opinion, smaller and local is probably going to be better than a massive company that is just has many agents, but they don't
Right.
have local experience necessarily.
Sure.
So there's so many mineral rights, wells, septic systems.
Yep.
A lot of agents that come from San Antonio who are hardworking, capable agents simply don't have experience with with a lot of that, and so whereas the local folks are going to
Yeah.
have those experiences. So I would say that's probably the most beneficial thing that we have to offer is experience, and experience
Right.
specific to a rural community where you may have lots of
Yeah.
aspects that you don't have
Right.
in a city-based brokerage.
So as you've been talking, I started thinking, would you have any advice you'd share with someone looking, and do you have any advice to share with those seeking, making that change, or maybe a new home buyer or anything?
Oh,
like
goodness.
that? There's probably a lot of it. So I thought that
So,
would be helpful to share.
most people are well served by having an agent that works with them. There are some folks that have bought and sold for many years who just feel like they're fine,
themselves.
and that's fine. We don't have an issue with that. But a lot of people that have not done a lot of real estate really need somewhat of a guide in that
Right.
process. And so I think that would be the first thing is choose your agent well, make sure it's somebody that can communicate well and that does have the background and experience specific to what it is that you're wanting to do, whether
Yeah.
it be, just a home in the country or a condo in the city or ranch land or whatever it might be. Obviously, some agents are going to be much, more experienced and better positioned to help that particular client
Yeah.
with that particular kind of buy. If it's a buyer, I would say make sure you get pre-qualified. Look at your numbers, know what it is you want. Be aware that if you've got good credit and you've got pretty good income, a lot of times you're going to get qualified for a larger payment than you really ought to make.
Right.
So that's something we try to do with buyers, is help them to not get just become house poor, to come to the point where they can afford it and it's new and wonderful, but then as life happens and kids need braces and
Yes.
cars break down, then their budget is so tight that it makes it real difficult. So it's good to avoid that. It's good to stay within a budget and buy within your means and leave some extra.
That's good.
You know,
That's very
for-
good advice.
So
And like you said, I can see that coming out here where you mentioned like you've used some of those skills that you learned from those degrees, that
Yeah.
counseling and stuff that you've had to probably use over the years. It's
well,
helped you.
I would say for sellers, it's a matter of being prepared.
Yeah.
Obviously, most sellers know they need to declutter and stage and kind of get the house ready. But out here, what's the condition of your septic system? Let's check in and make sure that it's been pumped at some reasonable time in the past, and that it doesn't become a hurdle down the road.
Yeah.
Same thing with inspections. You as a seller have to give a disclosure about what you know about the house, and it really doesn't hurt to have an inspector come and look at it before you even list it.
Yeah.
So just that's I think the main thing for sellers is to have their home ready so that you don't have these hurdles that come up. You can get into a transaction, have all of the stressful negotiations at the kitchen table at 10 o'clock at night when you're finishing up a contract. Get into it 2, 3, 4 weeks later, and then have things come up that could have been avoided if they would have been addressed early on.
Yeah. Getting all your ducks in a row. Sounds like good advice. So a little bit of fun here, but is there some maybe a most interesting or memorable property or client you've worked with?
Oh my! That question was
many.
on our list, and I forgot to give that a whole lot of thought. Actually,
You probably had a lot of that over the years.
yeah, there's been several different ones. Most recently, we sold a bed and breakfast place that happened to be up in Fredericksburg. I do some work still in San Antonio, and I've done some work up in Fredericksburg.
Yep.
And that was an interesting, because it was several acres of land, and it was a buyer from Mexico. And so that turned into a very interesting transaction. There were 4 or 5 livable units on the property, 3 or 4 wells. There were some
Sounds complex,
zoning
too.
issues,
Yeah.
and that was probably, at least in the last year, one of the more interesting ones.
Yeah.
And I would say too, anytime that you're working with a brand new couple, brand new buyers, there's something that's very satisfying about helping people find something that's going to really get them out of being renters and enhance their life, and that they can
Yeah.
actually afford
Right.
and so forth.
Right.
So those
That's
are
nice.
yeah.
Very nice. Cool. So, we hear you have a special event coming up this month. You want to tell us about the spring tour of homes?
Yes, so I list for a local new home builder. It's MG Legacy Custom Homes, and he is a member of the Greater San Antonio Association of Builders, and has decided to participate in the San Antonio Association of Builders, what they call the spring tour of homes. They don't. The other event is called the parade. This is called the spring tour, because it's not all at one location. It's kind of spread around.
Okay.
And so we're going to have 5 homes advertised that will be in Hondo Ridge subdivision, which is a new subdivision over by Livernia, and also in Eden Crossing
Okay.
subdivision. So these are all new homes. It's coming up next week, next
Right,
weekend. It's
right.
Saturday and Sunday, and I think it's from 10 to 5 on Saturday
Okay.
and noon to 5 on Sunday, and then the weekend after
next.
that as
Right.
well. So it's 2 weekends
Right.
in a row. And we've got, a really nice product that this builder builds, very upscale homes, and just look forward to it.
Sounds nice. Where is that actually located? This, you said Hondo?
So Hondo Ridge is a
Ridge.
brand new subdivision,
Right.
and that's where the bulk of our homes are. It is
Yeah.
off of FM 775, south of Lavernia, and it's off of County Road 321. So it's 775 to County Road 321, and then
Right.
Hondo Ridge subdivision is down that road.
Okay,
So
nice. So that's something to look out for and go check in on this weekend, the 6th and 7th, and then the following weekend, the 13th and 14th.
that's correct.
great.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting. Brandy, do you want to go over any comments?
Just lots of
saying
good
hellos.
mornings.
Yep.
Anthony popped on
And
and
he
shouted
won.
that he won.
Congrats.
And yeah, we've had a lot of good mornings and,
Yeah.
and welcomes this morning.
Yeah, thank you all
So,
for joining us today.
yes.
Yeah, it's been really nice to hear your story and I think that also is good advice. Like you didn't mention this, but you had mentioned earlier as far as you having the experience, something unique, and the local agents in this area. That would be good advice to people to look for that as well when they're looking to buy or sell, right? Yeah. So I guess that really wraps it up. Where can we go for more information about Fulmer Realty?
Well, so we do have a website, so it's www.fulmerrealty.com, and it's got a fair amount of information about ourselves, and then for
does.
sure about our products. We have a lot of the homes. We have the, what do they call it? I think it's Matterport.
Okay.
If you go to our site, you can see many pictures of our homes, but you can also go inside and navigate through room to
got
room
it.
and walk through the
Nice
homes.
feature.
That's a feature that we've
Yep.
paid a professional photographer extra to do to allow people to just, you can just on your computer just
Yeah.
navigate all through. You can look up at the ceiling, down at the floor, walk yourself through any
Probably
of the
something you
homes.
could have never dreamed of,
So
right?
that's
When you
right.
first started.
That's right. Never could have dreamed of it. And then our phone number is 830-947-4747.
Right.
My cell, 830-477-9393.
Very nice.
And so
Good. And you can also find this information weekly in the Wilson County News. You run a nice
that's
size
right.
ad
We've
there.
been advertising with Wilson County
right.
News for, I don't know.
Long time.
Yeah, 15, 20 years.
Probably since you
Yeah,
came
that's
to
right.
Wilson County. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's fantastic. And yes, you always have nice description, a good listing of homes to look at in your ads that make it really interesting to know what's going on here and what's for sale and all that you're doing. But yes, you can look to them in the newspaper and find them online on their website, fulmerrealty.com. But it's been really great talking to you today. Thank you so much for coming in.
Well, you're certainly welcome. I appreciate your giving me the opportunity.
course,
Thank you for
yeah.
helping to promote all of this.
Yes,
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be sure to check out that spring tour of homes happening this weekend in that new subdivision, Hondo Ridge. Of course, off 775, just south of Lavernia. Sounds exciting. We'll have to go check that out. And we hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for joining us today as well. We want to thank our sponsor, The Price Way, which includes the dealerships Price, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Jeep, and Richardson Brothers Chevrolet, located here next to each other in Floresville on 181. You can shop all makes and models, as well as a huge service department, as well as careers. So check them out, and thank you, Priceway, for being our sponsor of many WCN Lives. And we hope you join us again next week when we will be here again on Wednesday to have another conversation. So we'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Hope
you.
Have a good week.